3 months. That's how long it took one founder to go from invisible to invited, landing podcast interviews, inbound clients, and even a pitch meeting with investors. What changed? Well, one thing, how she used LinkedIn. But here's the brutal truth. Most small business owners, well, they're sitting on a gold mine and don't even know it. If you're treating LinkedIn like a digital resume, or worse, ignoring it completely, you're leaving real money on the table. Now, with over 1 billion users and a growing focus on creators and founders and real-time business content, LinkedIn is no longer just a place to connect. In fact, it's a growth engine, a reputation builder, a client magnet. And today, we're unlocking how to turn that quiet profile of yours into a lead-generating machine. Now, I'm talking practical strategies, real-world examples, and powerful features most businesses aren't even touching yet. So, if you're looking for ways to stand out, build credibility, and turn connections into contracts, well, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome back, my fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Kim, and this is Small Business Big AI, the podcast where we cut through the noise and help you build a technology-enabled superpower. Now, if you're new here, welcome to the tribe. If you've been riding with us for a while, thanks for coming back. Now, you already know this is where we talk real business, not just theory. And let me be honest with you, LinkedIn used to intimidate me. I thought I had to be polished and corporate and really perfect. But then I experimented with a simple short form video. It was just me, my thoughts, and a little bit of courage. And within a week, well, my visibility jumped, engagement doubled, and my inbox started to buzz. And that's when it hit me. I'd been underestimating the power of this platform. So today, I want to help you stop underestimating it too. And I'm not doing this alone. Joining me today is my partner in business and strategy. He's the guy who sees opportunity before the market even catches up. Hal's here, and together we're going to break down what we call the LinkedIn Launchpad, a framework built specifically for small businesses to grow faster, get noticed, and stay relevant in a shifting landscape. So buckle up, because what we're about to share could change how you think about LinkedIn forever. All right, Hal. Now, you and I talked about this a lot behind the scenes. Small business owners, they know they should be on LinkedIn, but most of them either dabble or default. So why do you think that is?
It's simple. They don't see what LinkedIn can really do. They treat it like an online Rolodex, static, stiff, and completely disconnected from their real growth goals.
You're right. I can't tell you how many profiles I've clicked on and thought, okay, are they even still in business? Or is this a personal brand or a ghost town?
Exactly. Most of the time, it's not even a credibility problem. It's a clarity problem. Their page doesn't speak to who they serve, what they do, and how to start a conversation with them.
And you know how that's where our LinkedIn Launchpad comes in. So, listeners, think of it like this: 3 moves that take you from invisible to irresistible.
Optimize, engage, leverage. That's the playbook.
Okay, so let's start with optimize. Because honestly, if your foundation is shaky, none of the fancy stuff even matters.
Right. We work with a founder named Dave. He runs a boutique cybersecurity firm. Brilliant guy, doing 7 figures in contracts. But this LinkedIn looked like it had been touched since 2011.
Yeah, I remember that one, Hal. His headline says something like, "Entrepreneur, father, blessed to be alive," which, look, that's great. That's sweet. But that doesn't exactly scream trusted security advisor for financial institutions.
Exactly. No keywords, no call to action. And his company page had 2 followers, him and his wife.
Yeah. So we started with the basics. We clarified his value proposition. We tightened up his headline, added results, not just roles, updated his banner image to reflect his niche.
And here's the kicker. Once we optimized his profile, he started getting profile views from executives at major firms and even got an invitation to speak at a regional tech conference.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, visibility follows clarity. Now, you can't show up as the expert if your digital first impression says, "I'm still trying to figure it all out."
All right, phase 2, engage. This is where most people freeze. They think, I have nothing to say, or I'm not a content creator.
How, but the truth is, every small business owner has a story. They have a process. They have a lesson learned the hard way. And that's the content. It doesn't have to be polished. It just has to be real and authentic.
Dave started doing a weekly post called Threat Thursday, quick tips on avoiding security breaches for small businesses. Not only did it start a conversation, it built trust. People began tagging others and asking questions in the comments.
And, LinkedIn rewarded him too. In fact, that engagement lifted his post visibility. It also brought in some new connection requests and here's the magic. He didn't have to cold pitch anyone. People started reaching out to him.
That's the algorithm working for you. But it only happens when you show up consistently and provide value.
So, Hal, last but not least, there's leverage. And here's where most small businesses really miss the mark.
They don't realize LinkedIn has built-in features designed to amplify your content. And guess what? You no longer have to flip a creator mode switch to have access.
In fact, that's right. Short time ago, LinkedIn used to have this thing called creator mode. It was a setting that prioritized content and turn your connect button into a follow button. But recently, they've removed the toggle and just made all those features standard. Now, every profile can be optimized to highlight content and convert visitors into followers.
That means your featured section shows up top, your activity in front and center, and you can guide people to engage with your brand without doing anything extra.
And so think about that. LinkedIn is basically handing you a content first profile layout, and there's no gatekeeping. So if you're a startup founder, this is your chance to look like a thought leader even before you say a word.
And if you want reach, turn that connect button into follow. Post valuable content and use those built-in tools like newsletters and LinkedIn Live to drive engagement and attract attention.
Now, Dave, the founder we mentioned earlier, he leaned into this. There was no huge budget. There was no fancy gear, just consistent content and a profile set up to convert. Now he's got inbound leads from people who found him through his posts.
And here's the kicker. None of that would have happened if his profile still looked like a digital resume from 2015.
Now, coming up next, we're breaking down the newest LinkedIn features that are turning profiles into pipelines. Video, AI, product pages. The platform is evolving fast. And if you don't evolve with it, you're going to get left behind.
Think of this next part as your featured download, the updates, the trends, the smart plays.
So stick with us. You're about to go from passive profile to power player. Laid off, starting over, or maybe finally betting on yourself. Whatever brought you here, you've got one thing in common with thousands of solopreneurs right now. You're doing it all alone, and you don't have time to waste. So when people say, use AI, you think, how? What for? And who's got time to figure that out? Well, that's where the impact framework comes in. This isn't just another list of prompts. It's a strategy, a way of thinking that helps you communicate with AI like a digital leader. It's the how to think before the what to write. So whether you're crafting your first brand message, generating content that actually sounds like you, or trying to understand your numbers without an MBA, well, Impact helps you turn AI into your most reliable business partner. Because when you're striking out on your own, AI isn't just nice to have. It's the difference between sinking and swimming. All right, now that we've laid the foundation with the LinkedIn Launchpad, it's time to get tactical. Because here's the truth. LinkedIn isn't the same platform it was even 6 months ago.
Not even close. If you're still treating LinkedIn like it's 2019, posting text updates and waiting for engagement, you're invisible. The platform has evolved. It's now optimized for video, interaction, and real-time relationship building.
So here's what we're doing. I am handing the mic over to Hal to break down the 3 biggest feature shifts that you need to know about and how to use them to win.
Let's get into it. No fluff, just facts. 3 updates every entrepreneur needs to lean into starting this week. First, short form video is now the MVP. LinkedIn is heavily pushing video content, especially short form. The feed favors movement, authenticity, and human connection. That means quick tips, behind the scenes moments, product walkthroughs, even day in the life of clips are outperforming static posts. Why does this matter? Because short form video cuts through the noise. And more importantly, it converts. Hello, and to all our founders out there in the audience, this is important for you to know. What we found is that it builds trust faster. People buy from people. I'm going to say it one more time. People buy from people, and video shows them that you are real.
And Hal, let's just be honest here. Now, most small business owners, they are scared of video. But the ones who start, even with shaky hands and maybe an iPhone that's cracked on the screen, they end up building serious momentum.
Second, AI is powering the back end. LinkedIn is getting smarter. If you're a premium user, you now have access to AI-generated post suggestions, smarter messaging, and deeper analytics. Here's what that means in practice. LinkedIn is starting to nudge you into a better visibility position. It knows what your audience wants. And if you let the tool guide you, you start to see even better performance with less guesswork.
Even better, AI actually helps eliminate the excuse of, I don't know what to post. You don't have to be a writer or a marketer. Let the tools prompt your next idea and then add your own personal touch.
Third, product pages and LinkedIn Live are game changers. If you're not using product pages or LinkedIn Live, you're leaving trust and traffic on the table. Product pages allow you to showcase individual offerings, gather testimonials, and even route leads directly to your inbox. And LinkedIn Live, that's where you turn attention into interaction. Live Q&A, product demos, real-time engagement. If you're a service-based founder, imagine going live once a month to answer the 5 questions you always get from your clients. That's content, that's connection, and that's position you as a go-to expert.
So, to recap, video gives you reach, AI gives you rhythm, and these new features, well, they give you results. And no, you don't need a production team or a marketing agency to start.
You need clarity, a strategy, a willingness to show up. That's it. LinkedIn is doing its part to surface the best content. If you're not getting traction, it's not because the algorithm hates you. It's because the platform doesn't know you exist.
Oh, say that again, Hal.
If the platform doesn't know you exist, your customers won't either.
So, coming up next, we're pulling this out of theory and into the real world. Now, what does all this mean for your business? How do you translate profile views into partnerships or a single post into a 6-figure conversation?
This is where the rubber meets the road. We're sure what's actually working for founders who are getting real results without spending a dime on ads.
So stick around because if you've been lurking, well, your lurking days are over. It's time to lead. Ready to unlock the power of AI for your small business? Well, don't just listen. Become a small business Big AI insider. Subscribe and get ready to dominate. All right, it's time for one of my favorite segments, Coffee Table Conversations with Kim and Hal. Now, all right, Hal, let's talk about the reality that small businesses are facing. So let's really zoom out for a second because all of these features and strategies that we've covered, well, they're not just cool tricks, they're signals. So LinkedIn is shifting from a digital resume to a digital reputation. And if you're not evolving with it,
You're basically the Blockbuster of personal branding.
oh, wow, harsh, but fair.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong, but that's what stings. This is the biggest shift in professional networking since, well, ever. And yet, so many small business owners are stuck in lurk mode. They're watching, scrolling, and not showing up.
All right, but let me push back for a second. I can already hear some of our listeners out there in our audience, and I know what they're thinking. Kim, Hal, my customers aren't even on LinkedIn. What do you say to that?
Oh, Hal, you mean the myth that LinkedIn is only for corporate recruiters and job seekers? Well, let me flip that. because you're not just marketing to customers, you're also marketing to investors, to partners, even to the media, to talent, and most of all, to opportunity.
Exactly. And LinkedIn is the only platform where you can connect with all of them in one place without dancing in a reel and pointing to floating text bubbles.
You're right. And I would say yet.
Don't even joke.
Okay, but seriously, think about this one. Now, one founder that I know, and let's just call her Maya. Now, she started posting weekly breakdowns of how she was building her skincare startup. Now, there was no polished branding, there was no sales pitch. It was just raw behind the scenes stuff. And within 6 weeks, she was interviewed on a podcast, offered a partnership with a packaging firm, and picked up 2 new wholesale accounts.
Because she stopped lurking and started leading. That's the shift.
So here's the takeaway. Today's game, it isn't about who shouts the loudest. It's about who shows up consistently, shares their journey, and invites people in.
People don't want perfection, they want perspective. They want to see that you know your stuff, but you're still in the arena.
And here's the truth bomb. If you're not posting, well, you don't exist. And if your profile's a ghost town, then people are going to assume that your business is too. And if you're only consuming content, well, then you're fueling someone else's growth, not your own.
Now tell me that's not a mic drop moment.
Okay, honey. No, let's actually not drop the mics. These are real here and kind of expensive.
Fair, fair.
All right, coming up, we're distilling this down into bite-sized action steps. What you need to fix this week and a challenge to help you move from idea to execution.
Because inspiration is great, but implementation, that's where things get real.
So don't go anywhere. We're about to put all this into motion. If you want to go from overwhelmed to in command when it comes to AI, check out my Impact Framework course. The link is in the show notes. All right, let's pull this all together because I know we've given you a lot today. New strategies, new tools, and new ways to really show up. But here's the thing. None of this matters if you don't move.
And let's be honest, you already know what's holding you back. It's not time. It's not tech. It's fear. Fear of judgment, fear of being seen, and fear of doing it wrong.
But let me ask you this. What if not showing up is the thing holding your business back? Now, what if your next investor, your next client, or your next hire is scrolling LinkedIn right now looking for someone just like you, and they're finding your competitor instead?
This is not about becoming an influencer. This is about becoming visible, findable, trustable.
So here's your challenge. Real simple. Now, this week, I want you to take just one bold LinkedIn action. Post a 60-second video, audit your company page, or reach out to a strategic connection that you've been thinking about for months. Now, just one move. Take one step forward.
Don't aim for viral, aim for real. Real content, real people, real momentum.
Because here's what I know. The future doesn't belong to the most polished. It belongs to the most present, the ones willing to show up imperfect but intentional.
And remember, consistency beats complexity. You don't need a 30-day content calendar. You need courage.
So post, engage, repeat. You are not invisible. You are a business building force. And this is your moment to lead. Now that's it for today's episode of Small Business Big AI. Thanks so much for tuning in.
So here's your quick fire recap. Your LinkedIn profile isn't a placeholder. It's your digital storefront.
And showing up consistently builds trust, and it's trust that builds opportunity.
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start.
And the platform, well, it's ready for you. Video, AI, product pages, newsletter, it's all there waiting for you to step into it.
One bold move this week. That's all we're asking. Because those small steps, they lead to big changes.
So until next time, keep embracing change, keep innovating, and remember, the future of your business is bigger than you think.
And the steps you take today will shape the legacy you build tomorrow.
Now I'm Kim,
And I'm Hal.
and this has been Small Business Big AI. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode.